Alrighty, joining us now is a massive linebacker out of the University of Tulsa. Goes by the name of the Vanilla Gorilla, surprisingly. Number 26 for the Hurricanes, Zach Neilsen. How are you, mate?
Yes, sir. Doing good, boys. Thank y'all for having me on. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. I've got a little bit of an icebreaker for you, but before I tell you that, you're actually the second Hurricane that we've had on the show, believe it or not. I did this.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I found this out while I was doing a bit of research about you. I actually forgot. We had earlier on this year, we had Big Chris Paul, who's been drafted to the Commanders. So did you have much to do with him?
So we never really played together, but he always came into the facility a couple times, and so I said, "What's up?" He introduced himself to me. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, no, he was a really good chat, and much like yourself, he had a massive brain on him.
And we try out here, man. We try.
Yeah, brilliant. So, in my research, we'll do our icebreaker first, just to get you into the mood, just to get you settled, just to get you relaxed. Just wanted to know 3 people that you would have dinner with, that you would invite and have a dinner with.
3 people. Man, that's crazy. I would have to go, obviously, the mechanical engineer in me. You got to go Elon Musk up first, for sure. Probably got to go Fred Warner for the football part. He's always been a guy that I've kind of looked up to. He's a ball hawk. He plays the position really well. Third person, man, I haven't really gone that deep about it before. Let's go with Conor McGregor just to switch things up a little bit. I really rock with his mentality and how he presents himself.
Yeah. Are you a UFC fan or?
I watch it here and there. I saw Volko go and didn't go his way. Unfortunately, I think the rules should be changed in that regard. He had put up one hell of a fight and really took it to Islam. My apologies, but he really took it to him, and so I really was hoping he could get it done.
Sounds like you're much more of a fan than I am. You're all over it. I watch it a little bit, maybe like when it was in Perth this weekend, but I'm definitely not. Definitely not. Actually, Conor McGregor is probably one that I really do get around when he does fight. But
okay, yeah. I got you. Yeah.
He's
a showman for sure. He's a showman.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a lot smarter man than I reckon people give him credit for as well.
Oh, 100%. He knows how to run business.
Oh yeah. So in my research of you, it says that your hometown is Brisbane, but you're not actually born in Brisbane. Where are you? Where are you born, mate?
So I'm born in Grants, New Mexico originally, which is over here. It's New Mexico is a state that's kind of just north of Mexico. It borders Mexico. So I was born there, but I moved over, and pretty much everything football related has happened for me in Australia. So I never played a down of football over here in America. So that's why when it comes to football, I list my hometown as Brisbane just because that's where everything happened for me, and I got to pay homage to that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. When did your family make your way over to Australia?
Oh, so I moved over just before my 8th birthday.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give you a precise date on that. I think it was
we don't need to.
2009, something like that.
Yeah, but that's so you had a fair time in New Mexico. Was it actually in New Mexico, or did you move around a bit beforehand?
No, so I was in New Mexico for the first 7 years.
Yeah, so you have spent a fair bit of time over there before coming over. So one of the questions I'll have for you later on is about transition, but you moved to Brisbane, obviously.
Yes, sir.
And so a lot of your time was playing under the Brisbane Rhinos. When did you start with the Rhinos and get a part of also the End Zone Academy, which I see you're wearing right now?
Got to represent them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I wanted to play football when I was about 11 years old. And so I just sent a bunch of emails out to my local clubs, Bayside Ravens, Moreton Bay Raptors at the time, and Brisbane Rhinos. Brisbane Rhinos were the first to hit me back. Pretty much they said that I couldn't start playing until I turned 14 just because of how few people played over there at the time. It was a 14 to 18-year-old age group. So insurance wouldn't cover an 11-year-old going out there with those boys. So I pretty much hit the gym and then signed up when I was 13 and was a water boy for the first couple of weeks, just learning the ropes before I eventually got thrown in there just after my 14th birthday. Been with them ever since. And then End Zone started up in my 3rd year with the Rhinos. Coach Booker came over from Europe, and he originally opened this up. He played in the NFL. I'm sure you guys have probably heard his name a couple around the community. but he pretty much came over, started this joint up, and Sam Arnold's really taking it over and really watched it grow. So now we're up to 7 signed Division I football players straight out of Australia that otherwise may not have been there. So it's really something good that we got going on there.
Yeah, it's huge, especially for the likes of us living over in Australia. And don't give away how many we've got signed up too soon. We might have a few of them coming on the podcast the next few weeks.
Okay, I got you.
But so for those who don't know, you've explained it a little bit, but the End Zone Academy, can you go into a little bit what that is actually about?
Yeah, for sure. So it pretty much started off as just a way to get players into the strength and conditioning side of things. And really just develop the raw potential that we have in Australia. Obviously, a great sporting nation with a bunch of natural raw talent. So basically just coming in, giving them a college-like strength and conditioning program that we would go in. We were working out the back of a lawnmower shed for the first couple months with Coach Booker, just getting all the movements down, stuff like that. We've since transitioned into more so focusing in the film room as well. So watching a bunch of tape, getting up to date with the terminologies and everything like that, because obviously it's just such a different level of game out here, and it's something that they expect you to be well-versed with when you get over here. But then also the last couple of weeks or months, something that they're really focusing on this year is also just developing you as a person and as a man, because obviously that's important too. We're talking nutrition, we're talking about motivational speakers, people that you can lean on when you're struggling, stuff like that. So it's really pretty well versed, and it helps with the academic sides of that too.
Yeah, beautiful. Danny?
Yes, sir.
So when you said you contacted Brisbane when you were 11 to try and
yes, sir.
get into the sport, when did you decide that NFL, American football, was the sport for you? Was that when you were still in New Mexico, or was it?
No, so where I grew up, we really didn't have football that much. It was a really small town. So when I moved over, I was actually watching a football game with one of my friends in Toowoomba. And so, we're watching the football game. I'm not too sure what's going on. I'm not really paying that much attention to it. But then the ad comes on, and pretty much it shows this dude, I'm sure you've seen the clip, Bengals wide receiver doing a front flip over a dude into the end zone. And then the very next play was just this absolutely massive hit. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. So I turned to my mom, and I was like, this is what I want to do when I grow up. She said, you're going to have to work really hard. But the media team did phenomenally on that ad, I'll tell you on that.
Especially that they got you on board. And
100%.
And you played a bit of offense prior to you transitioning to the defense. What was that all about? And how did you decide that the defensive line, the defensive position that you have now, was the one for you?
Yeah, so I actually started off as a cornerback originally because pretty much I had good speed, good agility, but I could not catch. So they said defense is what you're going to play. And then Coach Booker came over, and I've been working on my own a little bit, so I got, a little bit better. And he pretty much just put me on the offense because he just wanted me to get as much film and as much exposure as I could. So it was more so, again, I couldn't catch, so it was more so as a quarterback or running back position. Eventually, I would move out into the slot receiver, catch a couple slants, run a couple reverses, stuff like that. But they didn't really trust me to go up and get it, unfortunately. I've been working on it, though. I've gone much better.
I can definitely see a JJ Watt type, playing both sides of the ball going forward, I reckon.
Hey, whatever the team needs, I'm there for it, man.
Beautiful. Good mentality. I like that. I did see that you were able to travel and do it pre-COVID, obviously, do some training camps over in the States, which is a pretty huge stepping stone. Is that through End Zone? And where did you actually get to go and train?
So the first one was in 2019. And so when Coach Booker came over, one of the first things he did in setting up End Zone was put us, the boys that he was working with, in contact with PPI Recruits, which is actually a European tour agency, and they really bring international talent in. They scout international talent, and they bring them over to the United States to compete in these summer camps. So all of my training and all of that was done through End Zone in Brisbane, but when it was time to go, PPI Recruits picked us up and took us touring around the United States, which was, it's one of the best tours in the world. I'd recommend it for everybody that gets the opportunity for it.
So where were some of the places you got to go and train?
Oh, man, it was the first one was West Virginia University in 2019. Started off there. We did Temple University that run. We did, man, y'all really testing my memory here. We've been to LSU, Alabama. Texas A&M, went up and trained at a Division III super camp up in New England that had schools like Yale and Harvard there watching and scouting. We've done schools in Atlanta, Georgia Tech, stuff like that, pretty much just traveling everywhere from as far north as you can go to as far south as you can go and everywhere in between.
Yeah, really.
So you tried to hit as many spots as possible, pretty much.
Exactly. We were just camped up in a camper van for a couple of days. Big Sprinter van carrying us all.
So you were able to represent Queensland at the Nationals, went on to win the championship. How was that experience?
That was awesome. That was, I think it was 10 days of just straight football. You're there with a bunch of the boys you've come together with. Coach Booker was a bit of a maniac. He made us train for pretty much 8 hours straight on Saturdays in the middle of summer in preparation for this thing. But, I mean, it was definitely worth it. So, we'd obviously grown quite close. You're bunking with the boys, going out. Is great fun when you're smashing everybody out, too. So that really added to it all. But that was a really good experience.
So you said that you moved, obviously, when you were 7 or 8.
Yes, sir.
Did that transition help when you went back to America? Like, did you learn anything? Obviously being so young probably doesn't help, but going back and leaving your family and transitioning back to the States, did you learn anything from when you were so young?
I'm not too sure about that. But I mean, the main thing is that my mom's from here, so she's obviously got heaps of family over here. So I left my Australian family, but I obviously got people here checking in on me. I've got places I can go for spring break and stuff like that. They've done a really good job moving me in. My grandparents helped move me in, set me up here on campus. So it's not a whole lot that I can really say I took from being younger, but it's really just the connections that I've had that's really made it an easy transition.
Yeah, beauty. And how did we end up at Tulsa?
Yeah, so that 2019 tour that I went on, I generated a bunch of interest, but unfortunately nothing came out of it. So I came back here 2020 COVID year, couldn't do anything, graduated high school. 2021, I started working on my aerospace engineering degree at University of Queensland, as well as, constantly in the gym working out. Had, 20-hour Fridays. It was the thing of the week, my favorite day. Putting the work in so that 2021 tour I could attend in the summer with PPI again. And it was fortunate enough that Joe Gillespie, the TU defensive coordinator at the time, was able to pick me up at an OU camp. So it was really just, stars aligned. I pretty much got lucky, but it's something I've been working for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So living so far away from your family now, like you said, you got a lot of family in the States, but how often are you seeing your Australian family?
So I've been fortunate. They've come over twice now, and I'll be going back over and seeing them back in Australia in May. So it's about twice a year. So it's not too bad. It's about 6 months between getting to see them. And we try and talk as much as we can over the phone and whatnot.
Do you get to keep up with scores and stuff back home, like with the Australian sports?
I was up at, I think it was 4:30 a.m. before lift to watch the Game 3 of the Origin. So absolutely, nice. I try to keep it up as much as I can.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I'd see you follow the Patriots. Do you follow like the NFL much? And were you watching all the games? Were you watching the Super Bowl?
I definitely watched the Super Bowl for sure. Patriots are definitely my team. My mom was born in Foxborough, so I swear I'm not a bandwagoner, although I did love it when we had Brady on our side. But I did support the Bucs a little bit more when he went there too. I will admit to that.
How were you when he retired?
The first or the second time, man.
Well, he hasn't come back yet, so it could be the prequel again to coming back. But
yeah.
It was pretty big news over here. I imagine it was huge news over there.
Oh, huge! It was on the news 24/7, pretty much. SportsCenter went crazy about it.
Yeah, so we put in a bid for the there's a jar of sand that he was sitting on that someone tried to sell. Yeah. We put a bid in, but we got outbid by about
$100,000. That is crazy. I got to respect the entrepreneurial spirit on that one, though, to be honest with you.
Oh, I know. Did you see the photo where they had it all circled in the background?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you said before that you're aerospace engineer, is that right?
Now I'm a mechanical engineer here.
Mechanical engineer, yeah.
Yes,
so So we'll forget about football for the moment. Like, we obviously know that the NFL is a huge goal, but
Yep.
everyone also knows that it doesn't go for very long. So I'm presuming this is a little bit of a backup plan, and where can this lead you in the future?
I mean, I've told this to pretty much everybody. I don't think I'll ever retire. I just love working and love doing things that I'm passionate about. So I think even if I am lucky enough to go off and have a Hall of Fame career, I think I'll still probably try and open up a consulting business in the aerospace industry, and do some stuff like that, military contracting, working on planes, jets, you name it. I want to build it.
So you're good with your hands? Is that what I'm getting?
I try to be.
But you can't catch a ball. This just makes no sense.
Who are you telling, man? I'm just as confused as you are.
So you redshirted last year. What kind of lessons did you learn, like getting ready for this year?
Really, last year was a big development year for me. So obviously the speed of the game is a lot different. Just getting acclimated to obviously the American culture, the college culture, all that good stuff. So that was really, really taught me to be patient and just attack the work every single day. Just because I wasn't getting playing time didn't mean I could lay my foot off the gas or anything like that. It means I had to go even harder, give these boys a good look in scout team and do my job there to best prepare them for the games and on the weekend. So I think it really did good at teaching me resilience and obviously helped me develop in my football IQ and stuff like that as well. Put on a bit of size too. Doesn't hurt.
No, you've definitely put on a bit of size. We won't mention that until later. But so when you are redshirting, is a day, like a typical day, different to like this year going into the year? Like, obviously this year you're hoping to get a few more minutes and actually get on the field. But as a redshirt, are you still preparing as if you're getting ready for a game?
Yeah, pretty much. Really the biggest difference is so redshirt guys. Like last year, I would do development lifting. So every morning at 6 a.m., we'd go in the weight room, lift a bunch of weight, obviously a lot more weight than the guys that are playing are because you don't want to put too much stress on their bodies when they're preparing for the game on the weekend. And then during practice itself, you go on the scout team. So that's going against the ones of for my case, the first offense and getting reps there. So it's not really studying the defensive playbook, but it's more so trying to mimic the opposition's playbook to best prepare the guys that are going to go out there and perform. So it is a little bit different, but in terms of getting to class and going to meetings and all that, it's exactly the same. There's a bit more on your plate with the 6 a.m. workouts, but if you love it, it's not that much.
No, especially if it's going to lead you to where you want to be in the next few years. But
yeah,
if you're saying that you're going up against the ones, the redshirts hold a pretty key part of like developing and getting everyone ready for the game day, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly how I looked at it. I mean, obviously, college and college football is what you make of it. But if you attack anything with the right mentality, you're going to go far. So I looked at it exactly like that. I'm going against the best guys on the team. It's going to make me better, and hopefully making me better is going to make them better, and hopefully that gets us a better result on the scoreboard when it comes down to it.
You said before about Fred Warner from the 49ers. Did you see the play that he made earlier this year where he pretty much just shot himself?
About the 5 yards?
Yeah.
5-yard dive? That was insane.
And he literally, I reckon it was closer to 10. He dived and literally missiled him straight. Was it? I can't remember who it was against, but I just remember the footage from behind the uprights, and geez, it was an enormous. Is he someone that you kind of follow and base your game off?
Oh, for sure. He's a much more recent development. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, he's definitely someone that I aspire to be. That kind of drive, that kind of grit is something that every linebacker looks to play with.
So, other than him, who else are we looking up to? Is it the JJ Watts and everything like that, just because they are so huge, or who else are we buying? TJ Watt, yeah,
definitely up there for sure. Michael Parsons as well, coming off the edge. I gotta say, someone else was on my mind. I'll probably come back to that one later if it pops up. But there's definitely a few guys up there. Malcolm Rodriguez come out of Oklahoma State, sorry.
Yeah.
And, he picked up late round draft pick. And I forget if he started this year, but he got a lot of snaps coming in as a rookie who fell so late in the round. And there was a bunch of stuff on Hard Knocks. I don't know if you guys saw, but the coach ripping into all the boys because this rookie was coming in and outworking them. So that's really the kind of mentality that I love to live with.
It's a good mentality to have, that's for sure. How do you
Oh,
go?
100%.
How do you go with all the film that you have to watch? Is there a lot of film that you have to watch when you're preparing? Like,
There is a lot of film. Some meetings can get a bit long. I'm not going to lie to you. Need a bit of a coffee to keep the eyes open. But no, it's definitely enjoyable. You know, obviously, if you're passionate about something, you're willing to do anything for it. And it's with a bunch of great guys, and you're learning every single second of it.
So you're obviously in the off season now. What kind are you watching film now, or what kind of film are you watching?
Yes, we just started our OTAs this week. So basically, we're putting in kind of a couple plays, a bit like how the playbook's going to be looking. We had a full coaching change this offseason, so it's a whole new system, a whole new stuff like that. So we're still going out and doing our workouts, but we will have film meetings where we watch, obviously, the schools that they came from. We'll see them playing a similar defense to what we're going to be implementing. And then because we started OTAs, we just got done watching film of kind of like our walkthrough with that. No pads on, no nothing like that. Just going out and getting reps in at what they expect us to do.
Yeah, beautiful. I got a question about your training, but just one about, like you said, the alum before coming through, like Big Chris Paul. Do you ever have the opportunity to reach out to guys like that who have obviously gone through the draft process? And I know you're not thinking draft or anything at the moment, but just that taking the next step to be able to be ready for those kind of things. And do you get to reach out? Because is it Smith as well? Went to the Cowboys?
Yeah, Tyler Smith.
Tyler
Yes,
Smith. So, are you able to reach out and speak with guys like that just to, get yourself as prepared as possible?
Yeah, that avenue is definitely there. We have alumni coming back. We had one last week just come back just to talk to us. Obviously, it's not always going to be guys that go on to the next level because there's a lot more to college football than just preparing yourself for the NFL. It's about preparing you for life after football as well. As you said, my grandparents have a saying that says that NFL stands for not for long. So you got to be prepared for everything that comes after that. But yeah, I mean, Zaven Collins went the year before. We follow each other on Instagram. Tyler Smith as well, and Chris Paul too. I've had more conversation with Chris Paul than I have the other two, but they're definitely around and in our corner, if you know what I mean. It's definitely a tight-knit community we got out here.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So I have found some stats, but you'll have to tell me how recent they are. I'm presuming they're semi-combine stats. So it says your 40-yard dash was 4.5 seconds. You got a 309-pound bench and a 441-pound squat. There's some huge numbers. How recent are they?
They're pretty old. I haven't ran a 40 since the 2021 Dream Chasers tour. So I clocked a 4.5. I'm gonna hang on to that though because that's something that you want to keep it at a 4.5 level. I put on a bit of weight, but I'm confident I'm still up there. You know what I mean? But I'm cool to hang on to that one. But the bench has gone up. I just hit a 335-pound a day, but I'm working off of like a 350 max. I haven't officially hit it yet, but that's kind of what I'm putting my training in to eventually get to. And my squat is up to about a 525.
Wow.
So we're goal of 600 by the time I graduate, 100%.
A lot of Jalen Hurts about that one.
Oh, yeah. That boy is crazy.
So speaking of goals, you a goal-orientated person?
I mean, I think you got to be, man. Like, I definitely have goals that I'm trying to hit. I don't necessarily write them down. I more so think of the big picture and then work my way back. That being said, every morning I will wake up and have a bit of a team meeting with myself and just write down all the tasks I got to get done for the day and just go out and get them done because I know that those are going to lead to the goals even if I don't explicitly write those down.
So do you have year-by-year goals or you just like take it day-by-day kind of stuff?
I'm more so take it day by day. Football is a little bit different because the coaches want us to set goals for ourselves. Weight room is kind of just that's more so day by day. They give you something that they want you to hit, and you go out and you do it. Football is definitely setting seasonal goals for myself. In the classroom, obviously, I want to maintain high grades, but it's kind of just do your best. And obviously, if you continually do those little steps, you're gonna find success.
You speak about study, and I'm not 100% across how it works, but you have to keep a certain GPA, don't you?
Yes, sir. I think it's a 2.2, I believe, 2.2 GPA.
Okay, so how are you traveling with that? We'll report
Uh,
back to mum and dad and just let them know how you're going.
I'm a 4.0 student at the moment, so
Wow.
I should be all good in that regard.
Does that make it easier if you are like you obviously don't want the pressures of school getting in the way of the pressures of playing as well? So being able
Mm-hmm.
to be, pretty good at your studies, that obviously helps.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there is a bit of pressure that comes with it. Once you join the 4.0 club, it's really disappointing to have to leave it. But I think I can balance things well and compartmentalize well as well. So it's as long as you know how to time manage, and sometimes you get thrown into the deep end and are told to figure it out. But it seems like we're managing all right as we're going along. So I'm happy with that.
What's the highest you can get?
4.0 is the highest you can get.
So you're sitting at max at the moment.
I am sitting at the max, yes, sir. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a fall from grace when you leave that club.
I'll make sure mum and dad see that one, just so they know that you're sitting pretty.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What do we? What's next for the big vanilla gorilla? First of all, how did that nickname come about? And what is next for you, mate? What are we going to see this year?
Yeah, so I was talking to some friends on their podcast the other day, and I accidentally gave credit to the wrong person. It was my friend Tyson Snag who saw the sign in New York City of the Vanilla Gorilla Cafe. And so he said, that's what we should call you. And my dad just really picked up on it. So that's why I gave credit to my dad, because he was really in my ear about it. But that's kind of how that one came about. Hopefully we can do some sort of NIL deal with the Vanilla Gorilla Cafe if they're playing in New York. But we'll see how things go. What's next for me? Obviously, I'm going to try and get on the field a bit more this year. They got me playing like a hybrid position between linebacker and defensive end, which I think will be really fun. Get a lot of quarterback pressure and stuff like that, run stops in the trenches, nose in the dirt, hand in the dirt, that kind of thing. School-wise, just keep plodding along, trying to get that 4.0 and keep working, man.
It's pretty incredible you still managed to keep up that 4.0 with like all the training and all the practice and everything else you got to do. So that's impressive. Will we see? You said you're coming back to Australia in May.
Yes, sir.
And then, is there any other long-term plans to come back to Australia? Is you going to be constantly, frequently visiting, or what's your plan with that?
I think Australia definitely has a strong place in my heart. It's a beautiful country, beautiful people. So I'll for sure be coming back there. Not too sure how frequently it will be, but when I retire, I actually want to open up a whiskey distillery up there. 100% Australian whiskey. I think there's a bit of a market for that, so I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. As a big whiskey drinker, I can't wait for that.
Loving it.
You've taken on the American accent pretty well for someone who spent 10 years in Australia, or more than that.
Yeah. We had a punter on the team originally. He's from Melbourne, so he was here last year. And so when I came on, I introduced myself as an Australian. Naturally, we kind of gravitated towards each other, and I just felt safe, man, talking to this guy. Because he had this super thick accent. My time in America when I was younger, and obviously having my mom there growing up, always hearing her accent, and then in the American football community as well. Naturally, you're going to have a lot of Americans there. So I don't think I ever officially got rid of it, but I'm hoping to put in some work in May, because the Australian accent is a beautiful one. I still have the vocabulary, it's just the pronunciations that need some work.
Yeah, I do appreciate some mates coming out just to make sure we know you're still an Aussie.
What other Aussie vocabs, some of your favourite?
Ride is a classic. I love saying ride. Mate comes out every now and again. Struth a couple of times. Bloody hell is a big one as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple of good ones in there.
All the golden ones.
All the golden ones, it.
Nah, beautiful. I've got one more question for you, mate. But before we get to that, I just want to thank you for your time and appreciate you coming on. And I know you've just come from you had a last minute team meeting, so we've appreciated you just slotting us in there and having a good chat about your experiences.
Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Anytime you guys want to talk, you know where I'm at. Appreciate y'all.
Nah, beautiful, beautiful. I do want to know. You just said hand in the dirt, face in the dirt. What's a good game ideal weather-wise for you? Do you want it to be a snow game? Is it wet, or you want it to be dry in a dome or something like that?
Football is football, man. Just give me a turf and I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? Give me the sidelines and the hash marks, and it's game on.
Well, how did you find? So you said you watched the Super Bowl. Looked like a bit of a slippery deck out there. How did you find that?
That's a stitch up. That one is stitch up's another one I've hung on to.
Stitch up, yeah.
$800,000 for a field, and that's the best y'all got.
Yeah,
I mean that's crazy to me.
And apparently 2 years to grow it, which it seems like Arizona's a pretty decent field. Why didn't you just go with what they've got?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Apparently, it was made here in Oklahoma as well. Originally planted in Oklahoma State, OSU, Stillwater. So they've got some questions that they need to answer.
Are you? So your home field, which I don't know the name of the stadium, but is that turf or is it slit turf? Or is it grass?
So it's H.A. Chapman Stadium, and it is turf. So that took a bit of adjustment to. Obviously, in Australia, it's all on grass. Come over here, turf. It snags on the cleats a little bit differently, but no, it's good now. I enjoy the turf.
Is there so different on not only physically, but how are you able to move on the? Is it turf? Is it a little bit different, or like I imagine you can stick your feet in the grass a little bit easier?
Yeah, it's a bit bouncier too, so you can really pop off, come out of your brakes a bit cleaner. The grass often will like snag onto you a little bit, like the roots kind of catch on your boots. But over here, it's pretty crisp.
Yeah, beautiful.
Unfortunately, that means that your joints get exposed to some forces that they aren't used to. But I mean, you just got to live in and deal with that.
I think it's lucky that you're the one that's hitting the quarterback and not the quarterback that's hitting you. You'll be a little bit better off, I reckon.
I appreciate that. That's what I work for.
You got any last questions, Danny? Or
I'm good. I reckon we've absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, no, you've absolutely smashed it, mate. And we will definitely be keeping our eye on you.
Really?
But yeah, I really do appreciate you coming onto the podcast, mate.
Yes, sir, 100%. Appreciate y'all, lads. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cheers to the lads. I love it.
There you go.
All right, mate. We'll speak to you soon.
All right, boys. Thank you.
Beautiful.